I just got back from watching the new live action Moana movie, and Disney is back with yet another cash grab remake for all the Disney adults out there, and I am not one of those. At this point, every time they announce one, I think all of us have the same question, which is like, do we really need this live action? There's been so many at this point. I mean, I can't even count them on two hands anymore, I don't think. I mean, Disney has pumped out so many of these the last few years that it's almost just expected at this point. They're usually pretty hit or miss, most of the time missing, but I mean, there's a few movies every now and then that Disney will hit on with the live action. When Disney announced Moana, a movie that's not even that old, my first thought, I mean, I wasn't excited for the movie. I was just like, kind of like, why? Why are we already remaking Moana? The movie only came out in 2016, but I get it. It's one of Disney's most popular animated films, so they got to make their money somehow. Walking into this movie, I thought, I would walk out of the movie thinking that obviously the animated version would just be much better to watch, but I was actually surprised. I actually think Disney got this one right. And before anyone types in the comments, no, the animated version of the film is infinitely still better and still tells the story better than a live action ever would. I don't think a live action has to replace the original to become successful. It respects the original movie, captures what people love so much about the movie, and gives people a reason to enjoy watching it again. So honestly, I liked the movie. I was pretty happy with it. Now, first, let's get into the story of this movie. One of my biggest complaints with Disney's recent live action remakes is sometimes they like to change the original story for some reason, which makes the movies fall flat. For example, Lilo and Stitch, they try to change the story and no one liked that. That was literally the biggest complaint of that movie was the plot. Thankfully, this time around, they didn't do that and they kept this live action story very, very close to what the original movie was like, which they did good there because why would you rewrite Moana, Moana's a fantastic character. Her relationship with her family works. Her relationship with Maui works. The adventure works. The emotional moments work. Instead of trying to reinvent everything, Disney translated that story into live action. And for me, that was exactly the right decision there. I knew where the story was going the entire time, yet I never felt bored in the movie. So that's saying a lot. Overall, I thought the cast of this movie did a really solid job. The actress of Moana had a lot of pressure going into this just because I feel like Moana is just such a beloved character in Disney, so there was a lot on her plate, and people already had expectations. I think she did a good job capturing Moana's confidence, her curiosity, her determination, and it still felt like the same character from the original film. And now the one criticism I do have with her was probably like the emotional aspects of the movie. I just wasn't completely convinced that she was like heartbroken or sad in those moments compared to the animated film. But I get it. I'm not a fucking actor, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I don't know, man. Sometimes on the screen, for some reason, like the guy next to me started fucking laughing because she was looking sad. And I don't know. It just was a funny face she was making. Like she didn't really feel too sad in the movie. When the cast got announced, everybody was hating that The Rock was Maui, playing Maui. But I think that was a great choice because it captures Maui's original voice and he honestly killed it, which The Rock is usually hit or miss with his performances, but I think he did well because this is one of his most successful movies. One of the best parts about the original film was just how good the music is in Moana and keeping the story going, and it's also just like I think pretty good music in general, and they kept all the original songs, and I think they did great performances in the movie with these songs, and the best song in Moana is still Shiny, Argue with a Fucking Wall. You're wrong if you think otherwise. That was my favorite part of the original film, and it is again my favorite part of the live action. Just the music is just very good in this movie. Now the visuals in this movie, they look really, really good, honestly. Like the ocean looked amazing, the islands looked amazing, even like the crab in Tafiti still looked really good on screen, which it's Disney, so I know they wouldn't cheap out on the visuals because that's what usually carries all of their live action films. And yet again, they did amazing with the visuals in this movie, just like other Disney live actions. Now, if you ask me, did this movie need to exist? Absolutely the fuck not. There's no point that this movie needs to exist. They could have just re-released the animated film. I get it, they wouldn't have made as much money, but I would still much rather prefer going and watching the original film rather than coming and watching this live action film. Not everything needs a live action remake, but Disney needs their money, so they got to do what they got to do. And I think this one was one of their better live action films, but it's still a live action Disney remake, so don't go into it expecting anything extraordinary. So yeah, going into this movie, I was expected to just be disappointed by another Disney live action slop film, but I actually walked away pretty surprised. The story stayed faithful, the music was still amazing, the visuals were amazing. I think the cast did a good job. And even though there was a few, complaints with like the emotional acting in the movie, it wasn't enough to take me out of the movie, and I still walked out of the theater that day pretty happy. I'm honestly gonna give this live action Disney Moana remake. Honestly, I'll give it a freaking 7 out of 10 because it's still the same Moana story and Moana's pretty good, but it's not as good as the original. But a 7 out of 10 I feel like is a fair rating for this movie. Also, this is my first movie review, so don't come at me in the comments about what a good number is or what's not. All right, this is Jayden Cuzo's rating. I don't care what a real movie critic rating is. Okay, this is just what I'm gonna do in my head. And don't replay this clip later on in another video when I give a shittier movie a higher rating or vice versa. Now, if you liked the original movie, I would say it's definitely worth watching. If you're a Disney adult, you probably already went and fucking watched it. Now, don't go into it expecting it to replace the animated version because it just can't. It never will. But now I want to hear from y'all. What did y'all think about the movie if you see it? Do you think that this was unnecessary? Because I sure as hell did. Should Disney stop making these live action slop films? I think so. Let me know what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.